PrizePicks continues to be one of the easiest and most fun ways to make money watching fights. They'll even give you free money to try. The only thing you need to do to get your free money from PrizePicks is go to wewantpicks.com/PrizePicks, use promo code WWP, and they will instantly match your deposit. If you give them $50, they'll give you $50. If you give them 10, they'll give you 10. If you deposit $100, they will instantly deposit another $100 that you can use to build an entry. No weird rollovers, no weird rules. You get the free money, you use the free money, and if you win, that is all your free money. WeWantPicks.com/PrizePicks, promo code WWP, get the free money and give it a try. I'm going to give you my entry for UFC Denver. I've got a 3-leg entry. There's a lot of interesting fights on here. There's a lot of spots that seem to make sense, but let's not forget, this is at elevation. And if we know anything about elevation, it's that we know nothing about elevation. Half of these fights end up getting finishes because people are too exhausted to continue. The other half end up going the distance where there should have been a finish because both guys are too exhausted to continue pushing forward. It's always hard to gauge what elevation is going to do to people, but I found a couple of spots that I'm pretty confident in. Let's go ahead and look at that entry. We are going to start with significant strikes. We pretty much have every fighter on the card. 4, 8, 12, 16, 22. We're missing 2 fighters, and that's fine. And that's because a fight was added yesterday. Literally less than 12 hours ago, they added a fight. But let's go ahead and jump in. The only significant strike line that's really standing out to me is Fatima Kline, and I have the more. If you're a premium member and you saw my PrizePicks entry a few days ago, you saw that I got this line at 45.5. It's now 51. That is 6 more strikes. In theory, we should still be good, but we've been burned before, right? We've had fights land right on the line. So the extra 6 strikes is a buffer that you may or may not want to mess with. I'll show you my actual entry that I placed the other day in a minute. My logic here, though, is that Fatima Kline is a very good grappler. She's got very dangerous jiu-jitsu. Her opponent, Jasmine Jasudavicius, is a very good wrestler that normally would want to come forward and take the fight to the ground. I still think she should do that, but what we may end up having is Jasmine striking. Jasmine landing significant strikes. Fatima standing there and throwing significant strikes back, just inflating this number and getting us past that. This fight should go the distance. There should be some solid back and forth, and I think she gets past this number. If we look at the rest of these, you can go Jasmine Jasudavicius over 49.5. And if I have to choose between these two, over 49.5 might be a little safer than 51. I think it's a very even type fight. I do think Jasmine's going to do the dictating of the wrestling pace, though. Evan Elder, brand new fight. That was just added, so that is on here. Josh Freem, 34.5 significant strikes. I don't know what's going to happen in that fight. Elevation could make it weird with Petrosky gassing. Like, there's so many variables. I don't love any of these other lines. If you take a look at Cody Brundage, 13.5. The more there honestly seems reasonable. And if you look at his last fight, I think he landed 3 significant strikes, but that was literally a wrestling match. This fight should be quite different. He should come out in a flurry, throwing big bombs, landing big bombs, can land 15, 20 strikes before it ends up being over. But we're just going to stick with the Fatima Kline significant strikes. If you move over to fight minutes, this is another tricky one. This is really where elevation is going to throw people off. There's a lot of fights that will finish early because of exhaustion, and a lot of fights that will go longer than they should also because of exhaustion. Christian Rodriguez, Julian Erosa. Julian Erosa gets finished, and Christian's not dangerous, but we're going to leave that alone. Luana Santos, Maria Agapova, 11.5 fight minutes. The over is probably good here. I see Luana Santos just getting a bunch of takedowns, controlling, but she's got some slick jiu-jitsu. She could end up with something. Gabriel Bonfim has never seen a scorecard in 16 professional fights, but he is fighting somebody durable. Jean Silva stepping up on a week and a half's notice. I mean, there's so many variables here. We're going to leave these alone. I'm not going to touch any of these. If we go to fantasy score, though, what I do like here is more on Luana Santos. I think she gets a whole bunch of takedowns. I think she potentially gets the finish. I think she sort of dog walks Maria Agapova. I could be way off here, but the reality is Maria Agapova is a good striker who cannot defend a takedown. Luana Santos is launching people left and right, taking them down whenever she wants to. She's going to get a whole bunch of takedowns. That'll score well in and of itself. She'll get a win. That will score well. If we look at the scoring chart, we can see significant strikes are 0.6 points. Takedowns are 6 points each. Defending a takedown is 3 points. I don't think she'll be doing much defending. Submission attempts are 5 points. I think we have plenty of takedowns, plenty of submission attempts, and then we will get the win bonus. If it's a decision, we'll get 20 points. If we end up getting a finish, well, it's anywhere from 100 to 50. I do think she will get past the 98 points. PrizePicks fantasy scoring is pretty interesting where, for the most part, if you're on the right side, if you get the winner, they typically will go over their points. And then the last one we will look at is takedowns. I don't love any of these. I don't think Fatima is going to get 2 takedowns. So I don't think she hits this line. This is another one. If you don't like the significant strikes, then do the less on 1.5 takedowns. If she gets 1, you're fine. If she gets 2, you lose. I don't think she's going to take down Jasmine twice. Jasmine is a very, very good wrestler. Angelosa, I don't think she's taking down Gabriel Bonfim. So you can grab the less there if you'd like as well. Christian Rodriguez, he may take down Julian Erosa. Christian's a tricky guy, a calm, patient guy, but he does mix up his techniques well. Montel Jackson taking down Damon Blackshear. He should do that. I don't like an even number here. If it was 1.5, I would prefer that. And Luana Santos, we already have her in the fantasy score. The problem is another even number. If this was 1.5, I do the more. I do think she gets 2 takedowns. She may not get 3, though. She may submit after 2. But let's go back to significant strikes. The last thing that I will add here is Abdul Razak Al Hassan. We're going to go less than 24.5 significant strikes. I think the reality is he's either going to get finished or do some finishing. While Cody Brunich will certainly, I think, get past his number, Abdul is a lower volume guy. He's not insanely high volume. He did just have a pretty out-of-pocket press conference where he's going, I hate this guy. I'm going to kill him. That might indicate that he's going to come out guns blazing, but even if he comes out guns blazing, then he'll connect, he'll do well, and he's not going to get past this number. I do think 24.5 is pretty high if you go through his fight history. Many, many fights that he doesn't cruise past that number. So this is an entry that makes sense to me. I'll show you the one that I actually placed. The only difference is the Angelusa less than 1/2 of a takedown. If we go look at my entry that we've got, we did Fatima Kline. I have more than 45.5 significant strikes because I placed this entry 3 days ago. If you're a premium member on our website, you saw that entry. Luana Santos, more than 95.5 or 98.5 fantasy points because I think she wins and I think she does it dominantly. And then Abdul Razak Al Hassan, less than 24.5 significant strikes. The Fatima Kline line, that is something you can mess with if you trust the takedowns. That's something you can mess with if you want to go on the Jasmine side more than her strike line. Either way, this is my entry. If you like my entry, great. If you don't like my entry, that's fine too. Go build your own. Just go to wewantpicks.com/prizepicks. Use promo code WWP and get your free money. The only thing better than winning an entry is winning it with free money and then having more money you started with. wewantpicks.com/prizepicks, promo code WWP.